There was once a dream that was Rome. You could only whisper it. Anything more than a whisper, and it would vanish.
Lipstick salon. All in our sister, I know they break the wall. All in our sister, I know they break the wall. Alô, que deu?
So you know how those lids are, because this is, well, I'm just going to...
You know, we have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah.
You know, I haven't seen a mask in so long. You're wearing a mask. So nice of you. I haven't seen anybody wearing a mask in a long time. It's good. You feel more comfortable, right? Yes. Good. That's good. So go ahead.
Hello, faggot lovers everywhere. I've a message for you from Birdseye. Birdseye faggots will appeal to your whole family. They've made them with lashings of gravy, but they've gone easy on the spice because kids don't like them too spicy, apparently. Birdseye even suggests that people who don't like faggots could enjoy these. They live in hope. You know, they could be right.
Mike, I never asked you, do you like spicy faggots?
I only like faggots in gravy. I can't take them. I can't take a faggot dry.
I realized something. If I play that at the beginning of every episode, we can say faggots all the time because I'm clearly just referring to sausages.
Those funny Brits. I always thought it was a bundle of sticks, but apparently it's a spectrum.
No, it's a whole meatball.
Yeah.
And then also, I didn't realize this, but there's another brand called Mr. Brains Faggots. It's like, oh, that's a little on the money. But what's up, everyone?
We had Coon cheese here forever, which is
named
after. It's named after a guy, Mr. Coon, who had a town named after him called Coonabarabran, and that's where the cheese was made. And then eventually, but we don't have that slur here. Like, no one uses that. That's not a thing.
Yeah. Well, you have other ones that we don't consider anything. So
exactly. So it's like that. It's like that. Like, all of a sudden, people started caring.
Yeah. Let me read this here. Snark.com for $10 says, with this humble yet meager super worthless, get it right, useless pittance. Camel has now made more money than Snow White and the 7 digital midgets. Yeah. Yeah, we might talk about that. Mike, you ever like start a stream and you're like, man, everything, I got everything together. I got all my clips, I got all my stories, I got all my pages ready to go. Like it's gonna be great. Just like you're totally ready. Have you ever done that?
Yeah, I do that. Well, I do that with the art share. Yeah.
Yeah. That's not tonight, bro.
Oh,
I ain't got shit.
I was waiting to see where it was going.
I don't have nothing. Nothing.
No, other nights I do just completely have nothing. Although not as much anymore. I sort of, because I used to do 6 nights a week.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's a lot. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, and I'm not putting in. I can remember all the stuff you would do for Camel Nights. I mean, no way, forget about it.
Oh, what a nightmare. Yeah, never again. Well, maybe if a young Sir Nate Callis of Palestine,
yes, and demands it from his liege lord.
Yeah, if there's $500 in super chats awaiting my doorstep, then maybe. But until then, no, I gotta do this. What's his face? The worthless loser, Lord Raptor Jesus, the wannabe nobody, the Pharaoh of Loserville, is streaming right now.
Doesn't he have like over 100 people watching though?
Yeah, I told him this is not good. You got to stop. I said, you know what? I said, Daddy's streaming, buddy. Time for bed. Put your feeties on.
Yeah. How did he respond to that?
He's still streaming, so I gotta crack the whip.
You showed him.
Yeah, well, I think maybe he didn't get the message yet. You
should just flex on him and say, buddy. Back in the day, we'd get sometimes like 200 or 300 people watching.
Oh, sure. I mean, we weren't streaming at 3:30 in the morning on a fucking Tuesday, but or what is it, Wednesday, whatever it is. But I figure we'll just, if we EFAB him, then we'll get his audience watching our audience. I think that would be fair. And technically, then if he gets super chats, then those would be my super chats. Is that how that works? Blind I gotta go back.
Blind Rue Thunder.
Ryan Blue Thunder for $20 says worked offshore the Gulf of America about 25 years ago, and the Cajuns often refer to themselves as, can I say that? I guess I
can say it because I'm Australian.
Oh, good.
Coon ass engineering.
Ooh. Only time in my life I've ever heard the word used in any. Thank you. See, all I can talk about is faggots.
Yeah, I have the Australia pass because we have 100-year history of cheese.
Right. Yeah. So when it comes down to food, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Right, well, let me get rid of this. So let's see here. Lord Finatra. If you have no material, you can always EFAP. I don't EFAP. That's what fucking losers do. I'm not doing that. So, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
I have something to show you. Are you excited?
Always.
Here we go here. High above the streets of New York City, the Cloud Agent strikes.
I retweeted your photo of that. I like that with the background.
Yeah. Yeah, it came out great.
It's crazy.
The light here.
It's crazy. You were just telling me about this, 2 weeks ago, I reckon, maybe 3. And how good it's going to be and how it's going to be like that. And I'm like, all right, this is coming along. I mean,
super fast, right? I mean, so this is in scale with a Batman who also has claws. That'd be a claw off. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
Does that move? Does the arms move on that thing, or are they stuck?
Well, this is the prototype, so he's pretty solid. I mean,
yeah,
they could move. I don't want to fuck with it.
No, I feel
yeah, but I'll worry about when I get one that's not the prototype. I'll show you guys. Let me get rid of myself here. But yeah, you're right. Super fast, soup to nuts. 2 months from design to prototype.
Is that a saying? Soup to nuts?
Yeah. You don't have that saying?
No. What's that refer to?
Spicy.
Because I'm thinking like balls, the soup nuts goes to your balls.
I think it used to mean you'd start with soup and then you'd have your appetizer, your entree, and then I guess you would end with nuts. I guess that was the dessert or something. Yeah.
I would never have thought of that. Okay, yeah, that actually kind of makes sense, sort of.
So it is, pretty awesome. It's I'm trying to think here. Yeah, so for 2 months, and I'm not gonna tell anyone how much I paid for it, but pretty damn good. And it's not 3D printed. It's actually tooled. It's actually has a injection mold. So, and I have here, let me see if I can bring this up. So I just have some photos I can show you guys. Oh, I can just probably bring up my Twitter, I guess, as well. Oh my God, go away. Let's see here. So yeah, I can show you some of the photos that I took of it, because the photos are good for scale, and you can kind of get a real idea of, like essentially how good it's going to look. Let me bring this up. Entire screen, and all right.
No Chinese tariffs, says Nocticon. Yeah. Added benefit.
So this is it in my Ninja Turtles diorama display. Oops, get out of here. So you got Shredder back here and Leo, and so like he fits to scale perfectly with all these.
I just can't believe the paint job. Like it's like pro.
Oh yeah, it's legit. And what's cool about it too is, just like the Ninja Turtles, the wrists actually move. So if you want to put Claude Agent coming down at you, you can set it up like that too. Legs move, arms move, head moves. All of the capes are made custom. So it's it's quite a good deal. And then I put them with all the Pulp Heroes. So this is a good idea of the scale of some of these other guys here. So yeah, came out just awesome. So
is that the same company that made those that's making yours?
Yes. Wait, stop screen. Okay. So I don't know when I will launch that. I'm probably thinking, let's see here. So I'm going to be sending the Boots and Heels to print, the first issue and the issue 0 and the 3D issue, because they're all 100% done. So I'm going to probably send those to print probably by the end of this week. And then I'll get all of those in. I still have to finish issue 2 because that's still in the inking phase, but issue 3 is totally done too. So once that's all ready, what I'll probably do is anyone who only got the issue 0 or the 3D issue, because there's actually a lot of people out there who only got that stuff, I'll just send you your stuff. You won't have to wait any longer. And then I'll probably do a review, or have people do a review on Well Read's channel, because that is, I don't know. I was thinking, like, do I really want people to have to, because 4 issues to review all at once could be a little burdensome. So maybe if I just like kind of split it into 2 reviews, that would probably be a little bit better for people, be a little bit easier. So
have you spoken to Well Read about this?
Yes.
I'm just going to get Well Read to do all this stuff for me.
Yeah, no. And we talked about it for a minute, and I was like, well, we could do all 4. And I was like, no, probably 2 is probably better, because you have 4 issues, especially that's 4 separate stories. So it's going to be, it's.
Yeah, I do 4 comics on a show. I don't really get to talk about what I think about it. It's really just what happened in it. That's all. You don't get much time for anything else.
And when that's together, let me think here. So we'll do. I'm trying to get the Claude Agent action figure campaign together by either later this year or early next. But it'll probably launch right around the time that I do the that everyone's getting their comics in. So hopefully, I don't want to overlap campaigns too much. I don't want people to feel like they didn't get their stuff. So I mean, although it's toys, so maybe it's a little different. I can kind of gauge the scene at the time, see how people are feeling about it. But the nice thing about the toys is that they will come out immediately because I already have the order in, so people won't have to wait on them too long. And we're gonna have a whole bunch of other figures that we could do or use as well. So yeah.
Did you come to a decision on the packaging?
So that's a good question. I looked into it, and essentially what I found was, so this figure, he's kind of, he's a Petruvian man. He has the length here is the same as the width. So it's kind of a perfect square, and it's frustrating for box because usually a box like a blister pack is going to be at least an inch higher than it is going to be wider. So I don't really know what I'm going to do yet. I might have to just send them in bags. I looked at clamshells. I could possibly get a clamshell, but it was really hard to find them because even the clamshells that were perfect squares weren't very deep. And this guy has a pretty wide hat. So, I mean, unless they make a custom clamshell, but I'm not going to do that. That's insane.
Yeah.
So I might have to, if I can find like a package distributor, like maybe through China or something, then maybe I'll do that. But if I can't, then they'll just have to come in the bags. The irony is that all of the villains will be very easily packaged if I wanted to put them in packs. But most people are going to want the hero in the box over the villains. So yeah. But I have one Steve and figure out how that's going to work. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I mean, in the end of the day, you could keep them on your wall all the same. So. All righty. Let's see here. Just going through all this. Nate says the figure looks freaking awesome. And people just saying hi in the chat.
It's amazing what we can do now. I mean, Ninja Turtles and then really wrestling, because they look to me more like the Hasbro wrestling figures. Like that was what I collected. That was my thing when I was a kid. And yeah, the idea that you could actually do that yourself wasn't even anything you would ever contemplate. It's so far outside the realm.
I couldn't even contemplate it this time last year. Even when I was speaking with PTP about getting figures done, it was a nightmare. I mean, he was telling me like what the tooling was going to cost and how he knew a guy who knew a guy, and I'd have to go through, all these connects, and I was like, oh, fuck this, bro. Like, and then you'd also have to, I would 100% have to make an incredible amount of money through crowdfunding, and especially with a character that, I mean, I haven't even put out a Claude Agent comic yet, so I'm going to have to make sure that with the campaign is a Claude Agent comic so that people are like, oh, okay, what's this figure that you're putting up here? So yeah, it's just, the idea of having to do it. But now, I mean, yeah, it seemed like a pipe dream, but I can do it. So it's pretty awesome. Let's see here. For $10, Nate says, if you found packaging solution, the box art you could do would be absolutely next level. I know. I've been thinking of that too. I've been thinking about how I would have to get that done. Whether it would be like an insert or whether it would be an actual, backer card or something. But
yeah, the guys who are doing Pixel Trader, who's doing the Merkmaid, they had Billy Basco do up a G.I. Joe style artwork. Like that classic style with the birds behind it. Looks pretty rad. I don't know what exactly they're doing though. I don't know how they're making it all work. And I don't know if the figure's 3D printed or whatever. But it still looks pretty cool.
Yeah, the other option too is I would like to give some type of packaging to it, but I really don't know what I would do unless it was just like a piece of fucking cardboard you put behind the figure.
Don't just mock a piece of cardboard. That's exactly what I ended up doing for the cards, just because I wanted to put them in something sturdier. Because I was like, the bags, whatever they're called, I had a pack around here somewhere. I remember PTP made his, and I looked into that. It was like $6 a pack. Are you out of your mind? That's like more than I charged.
Just to throw them away. I mean, people are going to open it. Yeah.
And as well, I find that, especially with cards, like, that collector's mindset hits in and people are like, oh, I don't want to take it out of its package. Like, well, that means you don't even get to see the cards. So this is a mock-up here. It's just like something I printed at home.
Oh.
And I'm just going to like wrap them up. And this isn't the final design either.
Yeah.
I'm going to apply them flat so I can put them into envelopes. And then I just got a little clear stick and put that there. And they're going to go in there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that looks good. Like a fancy invitation.
Exactly. It is a bit homemade, but I'm not spending $6 a freaking pack to get the professional. What did you used to call it? There's the professional, and then there's the
there's the prosumer and consumer, but I don't know if that's what you're referring to.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Shit, what was I gonna say? Yeah, that's fine. Let's see here. Oh, you know what I could do actually? I could. Like they make those every so often, DC or even Marvel, they'll put out these like books. They have the cover looks like an old action figure from like Superpowers or Secret Wars or something like that. I'm going to be re-releasing issue 2 with this campaign, because it's the first appearance of the Clawed Agent. I could do like a reprint cover that looks like it was the box of the toy, and then have like a photo of the toy on the.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that would actually, still play into the marketing of it. It'd still be kind of cool.
That was a big thing in the 80s. I remember they would love putting photographs on the cover of stuff.
Yeah. Do you know which ones I'm talking about? There, have you ever seen them, Mike? The ones?
No, I don't know those specific ones. No.
All right, let me see if I can show you, because it'll probably give you a good idea. If we do.
Romy says, I keep forgetting to open that last card artwork package. Well, I'm glad it arrived safe and sound.
Okay.
Nonetheless.
So this will work here. Let me show you this. Share screen. Okay. So you can see here. These are comic covers. They're not toys.
Yeah.
So I think that is. And then this would be the back of the cover. It would be like, look at all the figures. I mean, maybe this is a good idea. Maybe this is actually probably the best idea. This way I can still do box art and, I could, and also like I have the 3D rendering of this. So I could even use that for this here, for the figure. I think that would be a good idea. Yeah. All right. Anyway, moving forward. Mike, you see the big Avengers announcement?
Is this the chairs?
Yeah, the chairs. The musical chairs.
I saw it. I became instantly bored.
It was... if this is the temperature of things to come for this movie, it's I don't have a lot of faith in it.
This is the biggest franchise in history.
Yeah. I
think they made $20 billion at the box office, the MCU, phase 1.
Oh my God. Yeah, because just
bigger than Star Wars, bigger than Harry Potter. Now, it's chairs. with some names on them.
And
Oh,
what's
I saw
interesting
Patrick
about it,
Stewart. Is that what that is?
yeah, Patrick
No.
Stewart's in it. Yeah.
Ah.
Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Kelsey Grammer, James Marsden. So all of your original X-Men. Doesn't say anything about Hugh Jackman. Doesn't say anything about Femke Janssen, Halle Berry. So they're not really all there. They're just kind of there. You know, then it has the Fantastic Four.
It's
and,
crazy. It's crazy that we're already at nostalgia stage. You know?
Well, that's what I was going to say.
I feel like it wasn't that. I mean, it was. I was a young man. It's probably been 20 years.
Yeah.
Or more. Am I roboting?
No, not really.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's only been 20 years or more, you know, since that all happened, all that kicked off. But, you know, I guess for a lot of people, that's their life. That's all they've, you know, grown up with. I was actually, I was there on the premiere night of X-Men, the first one. And because they wanted to do it all on the same day, and because Melbourne was the first time zone, they skipped New Zealand. We ended up being the first people to ever see it.
And how'd that go?
Well, it was weird. It was in some weird because it was like the first showing ever of X-Men. It was in some weird. It wasn't even a cinema. It was like a stage thing, and they put up a cinema thing. So we weren't even in cinema seats. It was like going to an old musical or something, or an opera.
Oh, yeah.
So the seats were super uncomfortable, and everyone was crammed in. There was probably 1,000 people in there. But, you know, a lot of die-hard fans were in there, and they were all sitting together, and they were hollering and hooting, which isn't really an Australian thing to do. But every time some reference came up, it was just pandemonium.
So Rebecca Romijn is supposed to be in this. Isn't she a little old? Like, I think my issue is when I started reading these names here. I mean, Alan Cumming played Nightcrawler once, more than 20 years ago.
Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart. I mean, Ian McKellen especially, because I think he's like 10 years older or something. He was old last time he played Magneto.
Yeah, I know. And that was 10. Well, no, it was 2014. So that was 12 years ago. And I just think, like, so you look at all the names that they've announced, but who have they not announced? Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, the Hulk, you know, Steve Rogers. And it's like, all right, so your core major characters of your MCU, whether, I don't know if they are or not, but it doesn't seem like they're in this movie. So it's like, again, who is this for? I saw a thing online, someone said, well, is this a backdoors X-Men versus, you know, the Avengers movie? And I don't think that's the case. I don't think they have enough X-Men to qualify that. Also, a lot of people don't know, but like the Fox X-Men contracts run out in 2025. So they're probably giving these guys a last hurrah so that they can move forward with the, you know, whoever the next X-Men are going to be. What I think we're going to see is this movie is not going to be an Avengers movie. I think it's going to be a backdoor Fantastic Four 2. And it's going to start out with Doctor Doom, you know, eliminating whatever this group of X-Men are, probably pretty early. And so, oh, yeah, no, Tom Hiddleston's not. No, that's Tom Holland. Yes, Tom Hiddleston is Loki, right? Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
no, is he Loki or is he the young? I can't remember.
Yeah, Tom Hiddleston. We have Loki. It says Tom. Yeah, right here.
Oh yeah, Tom Hiddleston is Loki. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, then there's a bunch of names in here. I had no idea who the fuck they were. I was like, what? M'Baku. Okay, I don't know who the fuck that is, but let's see here. David Harbour. Oh yeah, that's the Soviet Captain Soviet or whatever his name is. So I don't know. I'm not really super thrilled about this. There's a lot of issues with it where I'm kind of more trepidatious. If it does turn out just to be a backdoor Fantastic Four 2, I think that would be better. If it's not, then if it's just a fucking mishmash of remember whens, like, oh god, that's gonna be a fucking nightmare. I mean, because the idea too is like, we've seen so many legacy sequels where you get these guys out of retirement, whether it's Mark Hamill or Michael Keaton or whoever. But that's after 30 years. That's usually 30, 35 years before they do that. The last X-Men movie these guys were in were 10 years ago. So it's like, it's just, I don't know. It's kind of bothersome to me. I don't have a good feeling about it. And also, these are all like really big names. Like, you have so many names in one movie. It's like, everyone's just arguing for screen time. I don't know.
I mean, I really couldn't be more checked out. It's just like I see this stuff and I'm completely divorced from it. There's nothing there for me, I don't think.
Yeah.
The
irony is that they're only making it for you. Because the more I looked at this list, the more I realized, like, there's nothing in here if you're a 14, 15-year-old kid. You'd be like, oh, so my dad's X-Men are in this? What the fuck do I care?
That's what who was saying that? Ben Affleck, I don't know, said something like, yeah, like his son was like, this is like for old people. This is scary, this isn't for us.
Yeah.
It was like, damn, if we don't have the 12-year-olds lining up to come see a Batman, like, that's a mistake. That's a problem. And I think you're exactly right. Like, who said it the other day that something big and awesome happens, and then everyone rushes to it because it's making so much money, and then they stretch it out and just kill everything that was good about it. And try and keep going on instead of stopping and looking at what started it in the first place, and that was Iron Man.
Yeah.
Instead of wanting to stretch out the Marvel universe or stretch out Harry Potter or whatever, Star Wars, go back and see, like, oh, what was George Lucas doing in 1977? What was Kevin Feige doing in, I think it was, what was it, like early 2000s, like, what, that was cool. They were trying something new and bold. Do that. But that's difficult and expensive, I guess. But I mean, they've pumped so much money into this stuff and it always tanks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this will tank, but I don't see it being. I mean, the Russo brothers are competent, so I'm not like worried that the story won't be there. I told you I saw Captain America 4, Captain African America. Holy cow, what a bunch of missed opportunities. And if you go watch like Film Threat, they talk about it. Like, there are so many moments in there where you're like, why did they do that? Or why didn't they do this? And, like I was telling you about the leader. The leader, I'll bring him up, is the, let's see here. He's supposed to be the smartest guy in the room. He's like the whole, yeah.
Look, it's got the forehead.
It's you. If Mike was a supervillain. And and this is what they did with him here. It's creative licensing. I'm not even too worried about it. That whatever. What annoys me is that outside of what he looks like, is they didn't use him in any like interesting way. Because it would have been cool if when you finally got introduced to him, they said, like, he's like, oh, the Sokovian Accords, that was me. I calculated the blip. I knew who would leave. I knew And then he, lists everything that happens in the MCU for the past 15 years. And then he's like, and I brought it all right to this one moment when I knew Captain America would be gone because he had to, bring back the gems, or I knew Tony Stark would be dead. And so this would be my time to strike. Nothing, literally nothing. There's no master plan. He's just like, I want revenge for being in this dungeon. And my way to do that is to have Harrison Ford Hulk out, and it's just like, that's not a fucking mastermind plot. That's worthless. And it's just this idea then that these people are making these movies, they've never fucking read the comics. They have no idea who these characters are.
Yeah, and they don't seem to know what made them popular in the first place. And they're bought into their own bullshit about all the other stuff that doesn't matter, that no one cares about. Like they're still trying to make Miss Marvel a thing, and it's why I just don't care. And even the new stuff like this, have you seen the new Daredevil show? Have you watched that at all?
I watched one episode, and I didn't like it at all. I thought it was really boring. Did you see it?
Yeah, I think we got 3 episodes in. You know me, I don't care. Like I watch the stuff while I draw, so it doesn't really bother me.
Oh, okay.
But Razorfist tweeted out a meme for, Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park. So you are going to actually have some Daredevil in this Daredevil film. I mean, nowhere in sight. He is nowhere in sight. They had the first scene, and then that's it. And it's like, you're really dragging it out here.
Yeah, I watched it, and I was just like, again, it's one of these things where they have Matt Murdock on a roof, and he's not in his costume, and he's against a brick wall, and it's fucking CGI. Like, you can't find a wall. Why is that so hard?
There's no walls anymore in New York.
There's no walls. Yeah, I'm just like, and it looks fake, and they're putting fucking haze and smoke over it, to sort of mask the fact that it's shot on a soundstage. And it's like, but it looks like shit. And one thing, I mean, I wasn't even a huge fan of the Netflix show, but there was no CGI in that. I mean, they shot on rooftops and in hallways and in wherever the hell they shot. But this thing is just
the first scene or whatever. Yeah, he's sort of like, it was so fake. He's swinging, and it's so computer generated, and he's like hopping around at a kind of superhuman. And it's like, and Mel looked at me, he's like, I don't remember him doing anything like that back in the show, in the original.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it's all CGI.
Well, and the other thing too is there's a scene in the first episode where it's one long shot, and he's like coming through, and he's fighting, I guess it's Bullseye, and then he brings him up to the roof, and it's all one shot, right? And see, those long shots worked in the Netflix show, because whether it was the hallway or whether it was there's a prison scene, I think in one episode, I can't remember, I think it's season 2. And so they had it worked because it's all blocked out, and because they're moving the camera, and because they're actually doing it. In this, it's like, it looks terrible because it's all one static shot of them just pulling back, because the whole thing's done on a green screen, so that they don't even play with the idea that they can move the camera. And it just looks terrible. I
didn't even notice that. Yeah, it's just pulling back. You're right.
Yeah, they don't move it. And it's just, I guess just so that they can say, like, look, we have that one shot. It's like, yeah, but this looks like shit. This looks like an
It didn't look, it wasn't impressive like that. I remember that prison scene was super impressive back in the day.
Yeah.
It wasn't impressive at all. It still looks totally stitched together.
And I'll say this, and people will hate me for it, but I am not a huge fan of, was it Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin? I kind of hate him. I think I don't like the voice. It sounds put on.
The voice is weird. It sounds like he's about to. He's got like throat cancer or something.
I'm just gonna be really angry and just talk like this. Like, just stop. You know, it sounds affected. It doesn't sound like that's how someone talks. And you know, I never really get a real sense of presence or like that this guy's like, oh, we got to worry about him. It's just always the way that they convey the reactions of the of, you know, the other gangsters, like, oh, we're so scared of him. But I don't really know why. I'm just like, all right. I mean, he's not superhuman. You could shoot him the same as everyone else. You know, it's like, oh, he beat someone. He put their head in a car door once. It's like, okay. I mean, so he's a fucking crazy person. I don't know. It's just, he never did anything that made it feel like he was this true mafioso crime boss where he could just like push buttons and, you know, have anything, you know, fall to his feet. So,
well, speaking of mastermind, that was his thing. So he was always very physically imposing. He could beat up pretty much anyone. And on top of that, he was a massive mastermind. He would always think 3 steps ahead of everyone else.
Yeah.
So even if you were able to kind of fight him, it wouldn't matter because he had contingencies on contingencies.
Right.
And you know, and obviously no morals. Well, so, no, he had principles, but yeah, like, you know, you just like do what the hero is not willing to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not really seeing any of that.
Yeah, and even in like, you know, that's in the comics what you're talking about. But even in the cartoon in Spider-Man, he was cool. He really, you know, he had the fucking Spider Slayer. He had all of the assassins, all of the villains worked for him. He had that the Chrysler building was his, you know, sort of headquarters. There's a shot in the first episode of this season where you see the Chrysler building behind him. And I'm like, I don't know if you're alluding to that or paying homage to it, but like, I don't know. What I'd like to see is, what I'd love to see, make a Daredevil Spider-Man movie. Get a real budget together. And then have Kingpin in the Chrysler building, and he hires some assassins to go after both of them or something. That would be great. That would be a really cool, you know, and actually have the decent budget for it, like a proper Marvel movie. But yeah, just, you know, they treat these characters like whatever. And apparently the Daredevil movie or show isn't even doing well. I think it had like some of the worst ratings for a Disney Plus show. So, and they're like, well, we don't know why. And it's like, again, it's like you're sequeling a show from 10 years ago now. You know, that's asking a lot of people, and you haven't really paid him any reverence in the MCU. He didn't show up in anything else. I think he had a half a cameo as Matt Murdock in the last Spider-Man movie. But yeah, you're right. If they're not gonna make him Daredevil a character, then it is kind of just a waste of time, waste of money. Yeah, a proper Marvel team up. I always thought, especially like going into I guess it would have been phase 2 of the Marvel movies, they should have done team up movies like Hulk and Thor. Well, I guess they did with the Ragnarok, but like maybe properly label them as such. It would have been cool if they did, you know, I don't know, Iron Man and Captain America, but it was just the two of them for the whole movie. And they never really did any of that stuff. They never did a Hulk, Iron Man, or yeah, I don't know. There were a lot of options there. Instead, they tried to shoehorn it all together. But if they did like Hulk and Iron Man in one movie, and then like at the end you had to get the Hulk Buster instead of just shoving it into Avengers 2, I think that would have been probably a better use of time.
Awesome One has a good idea. He says replace Kingpin with El Pimpo. Talk about a late sequel.
I want Spider-Man dead, suckers. Who's this Daredevil motherfucker?
It is funny. In one of the episodes, Kingpin says, and Billy says that's how his voice sounds now. So maybe he does have some kind of issue. the actor. But he says that New York City shouldn't be saved by a man running around in a spider suit or in a devil suit. And it's like, you know what I thought when I heard that? I was just like, I know what they're trying to do. They're like, oh, let's tie it in with their most popular character. But really, what it does is like, this show is not as cool as that thing you just referenced. It's like all of that cool stuff is not in this show. There's no Spider-Man in this show. You can play lip service and say, oh, he exists in this world, but he's not in this show. So here you go. You get 3 episodes of really the most boring politics you've ever seen. I mean, we've had House of Cards. We've had so many cool politics shows. This is the most. There used to be a show called Boss, which was about the Chicago kind of bosses that used to, or I don't know if they still are. You know, they're kind of like half crime lords, and they're always mayors. And they run the city. It was with Kelsey Grammer. I remember that was a cool show.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I never saw it, but I remember it. It was
the guy was like Kingpin. You know, he was a legitimate politician, but he was also at the same time Boardwalk Empire, very similar character. It's these politician gangsters essentially. That's what Kingpin is supposed to be, but the show is not. The politics side of it is not interesting. So
you saw it. So you watched 3 episodes of it, and it's it just has bad politics. It's just like bland.
It's boring politics. It's boring courtroom stuff, and they're not doing the. They're kind of doing the. I've hung up my kind of cape thing. You know, I'm retired from that life, sort of thing. So he does go and see Frank Castle, but Frank Castle is just like a spaced out weirdo in a basement. You know.
I hear this and I'm just like, do you want to make a Daredevil show or don't you? I'm just like, what about this? Is like I don't care about Matt Murdock hitting on a woman. That doesn't mean anything to me. It's just like, oh, he has a new girlfriend. I don't care. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's like they're purposefully padding, because they're like, well, we don't really have any material, or if they're just
had 10 years to work on it.
Right. Yeah. And they also have about 50 years of source material. Like, it shouldn't be hard.
Yeah.
And it's just like you guys are you're making me defend the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. Like, that shouldn't I'm just like, what is this? What I would rather watch Michael Clark Duncan play fucking Kingpin. I actually do think he's a better Kingpin. I think he nailed how that character should be. He plays the cartoon version. But I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I get it. I think it's also a really good example of where race swapping can work. Where it was just like, look, it's one of those really.
Yeah, it's one of those cases where Kingpin is a really awkward character to adapt because he is as big as the Hulk a lot of the times.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's human, so you can't really CGI him without it going, especially not on a TV show. They don't have the cash for that. So you just end up with like what Billy said. He's just a fatter and less rich Lex Luthor. Yeah. And Ryan, I'm not saying courtroom stuff is boring. I'm saying this courtroom stuff is boring. Yeah, and the Frank Castle scene was fine, but it's I think it's just a symptom of where the stuff that they're choosing to do, they could have chosen literally almost anything else, but they chose to do this. So they make decent-ish scenes based on what they chose to do, but they didn't have to choose to do that. It's like the old Star Wars prequels. It's like, yeah, some of the stuff was cool in the prequels. I liked some of the scenes and it was cool to see stuff, but they chose to base the prequels around trade disputes. Like they didn't have to do that. Like no one forced them to do that. They could. They had this other thing that it was set in Star Wars lore for 20 years at that time called the Clone Wars. That would have been a pretty cool setting, to show Anakin and Obi-Wan. No, trade disputes on outlying. It's like they chose to do that, so that's what they're doing. But courtroom stuff can be great, but not. God bless them.
Simply Green says Ghostbusters 2 had a pretty fun court scene. Yeah, we need more Scoleri brothers. That'll really beef up everything wrong with the Daredevil and She-Hulk show. That's the other thing too, because that She-Hulk show. I mean, I didn't watch it, but I saw clips and God, what a fucking abortion that was. And I'm just like, look, if you can't write the scenes for your show, either hire someone who can or don't put them in your show. If you're gonna have a courtroom show, then hire someone who's a fucking paralegal, at least, do something, who can tell you, this is how this works.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, my favorite courtroom movie is probably A Few Good Men. I don't know if it actually goes down like that. Really stirring speeches, by fantastic actors.
That's fine. You can be melodramatic for effect. But it clearly it's like the level and the competency of the writing.
No.
Mike, you are pretty ugly and muddy right now. I'm going to kick you.
Am I?
Yeah, I'm going to bring you back. Could be me, but I'm going to do it anyway and see what happens. Hello. We're finally alone. Just us. All right, let's see if this works. All right, maybe a little better.
Maybe I'll refresh. Maybe that'll do.
Why don't you refresh? Yeah, how about that? I guess I just have to wait here. Also, one says there aren't many female lawyers, so they had few to reference. Yeah, maybe. I think that looks better.
I just went over to thing to see it. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I'm on the cable, so
okay.
Hopefully it'll fix itself.
Maybe I'll just do that. Oh, like that? Okay.
For a bit.
Well, I got to talk to no one.
I'm there. I'm here.
It's not the same.
Fine. Let me get my blurred face.
No, it looks okay now. It looks halfway decent. Before we started the show, I said to Mike, I was like, bro, I don't have anything for a thumbnail. And you were like, how about the alien, the pyramids? I was like, oh, yeah. So what do you think is going on there?
They're finally building our inverse.
I was thinking that. I was like, they've discovered. I was like, because we went from the ivory tower to the pyramid, but now the big reveal, the ivory tower is still underneath the pyramid. It's a tower no matter what.
It's good that it is a taller tower than we initially imagined.
It rises out,
Yeah.
The graphic.
It's interesting. It's a bit, you know what it's a bit like? It reminds me of NASA and the moon stuff. And I am someone who believes that we went to the moon, but I also accept that there was a lot of fakery going on in terms of stuff. They thought, we'll just film this and send it out, and we've seen evidence of that, green screens and stuff being used. And there's similar things happening on the Giza Plateau and have been happening for decades now. You go back ages and ages ago, the main guy was like, oh yeah, there's a whole network underneath what's there at whatever the ground level is now. There's a whole network of interconnecting tunnels and all sorts of stuff. And anyone who goes there, because now they're digging away ground and have been for the longest time. So it seems like every 5 years, 100 more entrances to tunnels appear, and they all get locked up. You have to get special permission to go in there, and almost no one gets it. But at the same time, they'll be like, now they say, oh no, this isn't a network. These are just little chambers that don't go anywhere and they don't interconnect and stuff. But you can't see them. You're not allowed to go in.
Yeah.
Trust us.
Yeah, in fact, I think in some instances they've actually walled them up so that people can't get in there.
Yeah, that's true. And then on top of that, you've got all of the geologists in agreement that the weathering around the Sphinx had to have taken at least 10,000 years minimum. But then the Egyptologists say, oh no,
it's 2,500, right?
4,000 years max or whatever it is. And they're like, it's just, so there's a lot of shady stuff going on already where nothing is really lining up. And I, it was about 6 months ago, I was getting really into the megalithic stuff again. Just doing research for the Lucent, and I got on to some people who had alternate theories about what the pyramids are. And some people think they're energy plants or whatever, and I don't know if there's any good evidence for that. But one guy, he seemed really, and it was not just one guy, it was many people over a long time, came up with the idea that they're water pumps, and they pump water through a big underground thing out into the thing. And he actually built larger and larger models that showed you don't even need any working parts, just the sheer size of the things. And if you create these chambers, the natural weight and resonance of something, can't explain it, actually starts a frequency, and it actually starts to like do something. And he demonstrated with really quite large structures that he built. So I was like, oh, that's super interesting. Yeah, creating vacuums and all sorts of things, but you would need really large chambers. And a lot of the stuff inside and underneath the pyramids, interestingly, is not actually made to be traversed after it's been built. That's weird, because you would think you build the tomb, you want to put things in there. Like if you've ever seen the Valley of the Kings, those tombs were just full of stuff, and they're built completely differently. There's a big doorway that goes down into the room, and they put all the stuff in there, and they have these huge sarcophagi, and the walls are covered in art, and it's crazy. And then they put all these doors, and then they seal up the doors. None of that in the pyramids. It's blank walls, tiny shafts that no human can fit through. So it's like, what is this? What is this about? So there's, it's pretty sus. And now we've got the new LiDAR scans. And I don't know, I think it's too early to say, because I don't think either you or I are LiDAR experts. I'm going to read those.
Well, when I saw it, I was like, I remember from LiDAR school, when I did 8 years there, I was like, oh, I can see exactly what they're looking at. So there's two things that I think are interesting. One is some of the graphics that have been generated as a result of the LiDAR. I'm like, I don't know how you can detect. There's like fucking, well, we know that there's a perfect cube at the bottom with certain struts, and then there's a spiral thing. I'm like, oh, this is a fucking blur.
Okay, counterpoint. When you go in to get your baby scanned,
an ultrasound. Yeah.
The nurse is like, yeah, there's their heart, there's their liver. Oh, look, It's a boy. And you're like, huh? I mean, they could literally say anything. You're like, oh, sometimes the baby will turn and you'll see like the shape, the outline of its head. And like, oh,
Yeah.
there it is. The rest of the time, you're just like,
Well, the
I'll
way
take
that like ultrasounds and MRIs and certain CAT scans, well, I don't know what CAT scans, but MRIs work, is it's like a loaf of bread. It's like when you, so you see it like
All right,
from
yep,
a
yep.
totally different perspective. So if you're looking at an image where all of those images are laid on top of each other, it could look like a blur. But if you pull them back and sort of like spin them around, then you might actually start to see whatever that configuration is. But maybe we just haven't been privy to that, because I've looked at MRIs before. You will 1000% need to be trained. I mean, I'm just like, oh, I can see how you're pulling back, but yeah, you don't know where. I mean, you're looking at like a thin slice of like a, of a layered image scan. So, yeah, maybe you're right about that. The other thing though is, and this is what I find very interesting, is the amount of videos that have come out from the sort of, have you ever heard the term the Agent Smith of the internet? How like people are like, it's usually leftists, and they usually shut down narrative that goes against, they shut down conversation that goes against the narrative, and they're there to sort of correct you and be like, no, that's not the case, this is the case. And I've seen a lot of videos of people denouncing it, calling it pop sci, calling it, just sort of nonsensical rubbish, and almost politicizing it. And it's interesting because it's like, wow, so you're so worried about the possibility of it being true that you have to like, I don't know, you have to counter the narrative. I asked my wife, I said, did you hear about the pyramid shit? She didn't even know. She had no idea, because it's not being covered on the mainstream, and she doesn't really follow the news. But I was like, yeah, it's kind of they think they found something under there. It's the size of the Burj Khalifa. It goes all the way the fuck down. It's like almost the size, even if it's not like an office building underneath it. Just the idea of digging all that far down is kind of insane. Like, even for a prehistoric, or not prehistoric, what am I trying to say? Just an ancient society where you're like, all right, so let's say it was 10,000 years ago. Do we have anything currently where we've moved, we've dug a mile into the earth and put structure and buildings? And I don't think so, and not that I know of.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, if it is true, then the whole story of the current story of Egyptian history is out the window. Egyptian history is really funny. It's a bit like Sumerian history. So the Sumerians as well, they have kings that what?
God. Mike, I'm gonna give you a hint. It's not interesting.
It is. They have kings that they say, live for 20,000 years and stuff like that. And that story just gradually melds into the actual accepted king list. So there's no delineation in the historical record. So at some point, someone just said, all right, that was a real king, and that one is a fake one. And that's where the fake ones start. But, it goes back like, I don't know, 40,000 years or something like that. So, there's a lot of speculation anyway, as is, with that history. And if it's true, all of that is going to have to be completely looked at again, because that would mean that there were people that long ago with that capability. And the pyramids are already out of this world mysterious as is. It's very unusual that they were able to be built at the time that we think they were built as is. With this stuff now, if that's down there, that's just, that's a whole nother level of what the F.
Well, it could be the most significant find, if it's true, of our entire life. Because I don't, it's just like, oh shit, so we have proof of something that goes against what we were taught in school, for 1,000 years essentially. That's nuts. That's nuts if that's the case. Mike, have you ever thought about? And I don't know. I haven't read the second issue of yours yet, unfortunately. But is there any connection to the pyramids in Lucent?
No, I don't. I don't really touch into Egypt stuff. It's sort of like
now.
If this stuff turns out to be true, it's going to be very difficult for me to ignore it, and because I mean, a lot of that historical stuff, it's just like it can very easily be added in, as like a kind of a side thing. It's not like already hard baked into the story is the whole, there were more advanced people before and they got wiped out. Whether or not you want to call it the Atlanteans, I don't get into any of that. It's just, that Graham Hancock kind of idea. I really love that. So that's sort of hard baked into it. So the fact that the Egyptians were doing crazy shit, or whoever was there before the Egyptians, that would just slot right in. So I hope it's true. I wish it's true. Please be true.
So here's a thought that I have too. There's pyramids all over the world, right? There's Aztec pyramids and Mayan pyramids.
Indonesia, Philippines, Cambodia.
Yeah. So like, what's to say that there aren't structures beneath those that go a mile deep?
There are. There's that massive one. I think it's in Cambodia that they didn't even know was a pyramid until kind of recently. It was on the Graham Hancock Netflix thing.
I saw that, yeah, but it doesn't. Does it go down like a mile, like a straight shot like that?
I don't know how deep it goes, but the LiDAR that they've done shows that there are so many more big structures underneath. I don't know. It doesn't show like going like 2 kilometers down, but there are structures underneath that they know are there, but they haven't excavated.
And I don't even know how you go about that. I mean, you kind of can't unless you like want to tear the earth up, significantly. But then think about like, why would you? Like, it's an incredible amount of money for what? For maybe nothing. Like, so it's just, like if especially if like you're a smaller country or you're just a poorer country, you're like, are we gonna, designate $2 billion in our budget to fucking dig a hole to see what's down there? And we're like, yeah, we're not going to do that. We'll just have to, leave it for the future.
I think that's pretty much what they're doing in Göbekli Tepe. They haven't done anything there, I don't think.
They haven't done anything,
it's still just sitting there,
Yeah. What's interesting, at least for me, so the third issue, Boots and Heels, they go to a pyramid. And in the story, they find a secret pathway that goes straight down. So I might rework some of the dialogue so that it kind of, rotates around what's going on here. It might just be like a simple line change, like, wow, this looks like it goes back 10,000 years, or like, who would have set something like this up or whatever. But I was like, oh, well, that's kind of interesting. Kind of interesting how it all kind of plays out.
Yeah, it's funny sometimes how things like that just find their way to fit in so well sometimes. Timescale saying Japan.
I'm really excited to rip off your entire backstory the way you ripped off the She Agent. So I was like, yeah, I'll just steal his thing.
Hang on, I thought we both ripped off Carmen Sandiego.
I don't know where I came up with She Agent. For those of you who don't know, we have more people watching. I'll just show this. So this was the Claude Agent figure finally came out. So this is just the prototype, but I'm going to be, we're going to be making many of them. The She Agent was the same. She's just purple, but she's like sexy. She has like a dress on, like high boots, and she doesn't have claws. But I don't know why I called her the she agent. I was like, is that sexist? Is it derogatory? He's not called the he agent. But I was like, well, whatever. Who cares?
No, I came up with that. I didn't come up with that outfit. I found a similar outfit on a fashion thing, and I just thought that was really cool. And I was like, that is totally something that, you know, some chick would think, oh, I'm gonna like dress like that and look kind of badass in it.
Yeah.
And you know, that's sort of how and it wasn't until afterwards, and it wasn't until Rod started drawing it that he was drawing it a bit like Carmen Sandiego.
Okay.
I was like, well, I guess that's how it's going to be. We did end up changing the top of the hat to something a bit rounder. Melania Trump wore it as well. That's true.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she wore it on Inauguration Day or something. Can't remember.
What does this mean? Any X-Day beans? Beans? I don't know what a bean is.
Have you not seen the beans?
No, what is that?
Let me pull it up. It's something that Phil and Brandon have been making. I don't know how it started. It started with, they just started, I think it was a drawing that Shelby did or someone did. And it was making Shelby into a shell bean. And I don't know, they just sort of ran with the meme. And they ended up making these beans, and they made a giant one. And now they sell them on their website. Here's one of the giant ones being printed. So you can't really tell because it's got like the scaffolding on it, but it looks like that.
Oh.
There you go. It's a shell bean. You can buy them at their website, and they come in all different sizes and colors. And yeah. So I'm guessing there's not going to be any X beans. Camel's like, what is that? It's definitely one of those you had to be there kind of things.
Yeah. I look at that the way that, like, you know, adults look at like skibbity shit. Like, I don't.
What are the kids up to these days? God,
Yeah,
they're just wasting their
what
time.
are the mid-30-year-olds up to these days? Yeah. Okay. Great. I mean, I kind of get it, you know, maybe like a sort of aqua teen kind of whatever, but go get your shell beans. No, to answer your question, awesome one. Never happening. Never gonna make that.
Camel poo-poos the shell bean idea. Oh, fine, all right.
It was like when Jake told me what his comic was about. I'm like, it's like a morphing dick. It's like, and he's like, you made hail salad. I was like, yeah, hail salad's funny, bro. What the fuck is this? But well, I bought it. I'm very interested to see how it turns out.
There's a big audience that he's going to go on a Kickstarter. I reckon he could actually do really well there. Yeah, they love that stuff.
The book did well. What did he hit 10K on the first campaign? I don't remember. It was like 7 or 8, something like that.
I don't know actually. Don't know, but yeah. No, I mean I read it. Not the main one. I read a side one, and yeah, it's very like do not leave it around your kids if anyone has kids.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, he told me a story too, I guess, where I guess he was at a con and there was a guy who wanted to buy it, but then he was worried his mom would find it. I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
Let me show you this. Show you what I'm working on here. So this is the 3D converge or convert, I should say. So if anyone has 3D glasses, I happen to have some. I actually bought this like hardcore heavy duty pair because I had to keep taking them on, taking them
As
off.
you just were making fun of 30-year-old somethings with kids. Like,
Hey,
I
look
bought
at
my professional 3D glasses. Let me just whip them out here.
What's cool is, I mean, I don't know if you can see this at home. I don't know, but there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 levels of depth. So it's not just a basic pop out. It looks like one of those 3D cards that like pop up. So I found a way to manipulate certain like planes almost, and it revolves around cutting it out and then actually deleting some of the red and blue transfer. So it actually, sort of staggers it. It looks pretty awesome. When Mike, I'm going to send you. This is going to print next week. This is actually just the back cover here, so you're going to be able to get one probably pretty soon. Mike, I'll send you this. I'll send you issue 0, issue 1, and whatever that thing is that you mail bought that I have over here. I don't know what it is. I just have this package that showed up once. So
what is that? I remember.
Let me show you. I just have it here.
I totally forgot about that. Oh, it was off Phil's site, so it's probably one of their books. I don't know.
It's very light. It's probably nothing. He probably didn't send you shit. He just kept your money. So, but this also will have. Let's see, what's this one? Where is that? Oh, that's why. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Oh, yeah. So I have to convert this one. Heel's butt will be her own layer, so it'll really stick out at you. So that's so there's gonna be like a 3D pinup gallery in the back, and then I'm converting this one as well. This one's almost done. So like the background is its own thing, and then like the Claude agent and all the other guys will, be really kind of pushed forward. Ugh. It's kind of headache inducing. I can tell you this. I probably will never do it again. So,
just working on it is headache inducing. Like as you're trying to work on it.
No, that's funny. It not with the glasses. What's great actually is I can read the whole comic and not get a headache. So that's good. What's headache inducing is sometimes figuring out the layers, and I'm like, wait, so this has to be deleted and that has to be tweaked. So, but I've kind of got it down where it probably only takes me about 20 minutes to do a full conversion, but it's it's fucking.
Yeah, I used to be big into the old stereograph stuff, the 3DI stuff, and I used to make art based on that stuff. And you can do some pretty cool stuff with it. The only problem with the 3DI stuff is most people can't see it.
Yeah, my wife's never been able to do it. I couldn't do it for years, and then I remember just sitting in my computer one day. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure it out. And I think it took me about an hour. And then eventually I was like, now I still can't do them all. There's a Facebook page that I follow and just puts a new one up every day. And I could probably do about 80% of them, but there's a good percentage of them. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm even looking for here. So,
yeah.
Is it possible to do, like, I don't know how they make them. Do you have to have a computer?
It's just an algorithm.
Okay.
You can't make it willy-nilly. So it's an algorithm that you can run over pretty much any image. Usually the best ones that work are 3D images because they have the gradient. So anything that's light comes forward, and anything that's black goes back. So you can just do flat black and white and like write something.
Those are the ones that are always the hardest for me that I sometimes can't do. Like you're right, it needs to be a gradient or some type of color or something. It's easier for me to differentiate.
And essentially what it does is it creates some kind of pattern that your eye can, when it's properly focused, can see it. And the cool thing about it is you can make the resolution, and just like in Photoshop, you can change the resolution, and it's like a bitmap. You can change the arrangement of the dots from diamond to line to whatever. You can do the same thing with whatever effect it's doing. So you can, I used to make them out of text. You can put text in the right place and have an image inside that. So there's all sorts of fun things you can do with it when you play with the resolution of it. But yeah, eventually I was like, oh, look at this cool thing. And it's like, we can't see what it is.
Yeah. All right, let me get rid of this. For $10, Nate says, super pumped for Boots and Heels. It's looking fantastic. Thank you. It takes a long time. I've been told, Mike, and you tell me what you think, that I have an art style that's not like other people's. I'm just like, I don't even know how to not deal with that, but like comprehend that. I'm just like, because to me, it just looks like comic book art. But there's a lot of people who are telling me like, yeah, it's 100% your own style. And I'm just like, I don't know if that's a compliment. Jake was looking at the X-Thems book with me one night, and he's like, yeah, that almost looks like a real comic. I was like, the fuck does that mean? And he goes, no, he goes, it's good. It's like, it's its own thing. He goes, it's going to be an experience reading this thing. And I was like, I don't know if you just backpedaled here. I was like, all right. Whatever that means.
He's just digging his own grave.
No,
yeah, I see what he's saying. I would classify your style as harkening back to the Bronze era.
Yeah.
Like it isn't. I tell you what, it isn't. It isn't what a lot of modern comic book artists go for, which is that Dave Finch, Capullo, kind of house style that a lot of people are sort of trying to do their own spin-off. I would say you're doing your own spin on kind of a Kirby Buscema.
Those are the biggest influences. I've always said like Kirby, even Bruce Timm, like the simplicity of his line and like the weight of the line I've always liked. And then even like, sort of 80s, well, I want to say 80s, but maybe more Dark Knight or SimCity, Frank Miller.
There's probably stuff in there that I'm not as familiar with, like the DC stuff in the 80s. I mean, everyone's familiar with Frank Miller, but he went in his own direction that, it's kind of like, okay, you can take things from it, but even if you do, you're never going to look like his work. So but no, and I think what is happening is, so you're coming from that perspective, which most people don't do. Like Russ Leach does that as well. I don't know if you're familiar with Russ Leach.
I don't think so.
Yeah, he's really good. He just came out with he's got a book at the moment called The Atlantean. He also did Only Death Can Save Us. He's worked for Marvel doing kind of like merch stuff. He's got some really fantastic Marvel art, actually. I don't know like what it is, like pencil case art. I don't know. Because he can do that Romita, Kirby, Buscema sort of esque style to a T. And so that automatically puts you in a different category, and then on top of it, you're adding in some new techniques, a new coloring. So like it doesn't look old, And so
like I do
think people would say it's a kind of like almost a kind of underground at this point, because no one else is doing that,
So I'll show you guys, if you bought the book anyway. So this is I'm doing the letters here. And this is, it's kind of like what you were talking about. It's more, there is kind of like I guess more of an underground indie style to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially in the colors.
Yeah, where it's because I try to limit the palette, but also try to like embolden it where I can and say like, all right, well, I'm going to do particle effects for robust, even though you normally wouldn't do that with a limited palette. And so it sort of helps kind of make it stick out a bit. Let me go down here and see. I don't want to show the whole book, but yeah, you can kind of get an idea of like, so like this one here, I actually like these 3 pages, 3 panels up at top here. I actually redrew them like completely because
Yeah, I remember you telling me about them.
Yeah,
maybe the old ones.
But like the idea that I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna use some particle effects to make this look like a hologram, and over here I have some like electric kind of static stuff going on, and I have some airbrushing going on. But I think combined with the old school heavy ink outline, I was able to sort of create a look that was maybe unique to itself. So, and also one says, Camel, show the whole book. Yeah.
I noticed you were just like scrolling through.
It's okay. It's doom scrolling. It's just like just doing it fast. Actually, a lot of this stuff campaign page. So
I actually feel like I'm sort of in the same boat as you, but just from a completely different angle.
It's not as good. Like, oh yeah, no, what you said.
No one else really kind of does what I do either, and I didn't like choose that. It just was like, I don't know. That's just how it ended up being.
Yeah.
And some things I like try to draw quite realistic, other things not at all, and then I'd sort of just develop my own way of coloring purely based on what I could do in a reasonable time frame.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really think my comic looks much like anyone else's either, and I wouldn't even know what to call the style.
Yeah, I mean, and I like that it's its own thing. What's Nate? Nate for $10 more says, when people see the Batman print you drew for me, you don't have a print, bro. You have the original, so take care of that. That's not a print. They have no words. It's like nothing most people have seen. That's what Jake said. He goes, I've never seen anything like it. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, the Spawn one as well, actually. The Spawn one as well. That's a good point. Yeah, no one else is really doing it. And, some people might not like it because it's not, like we said, house style or whatever. But at the same time, I remember like everyone's like, this guy's a such and such clone. This guy's a such and such clone. He's and it's like, yeah, it's really, it's something that, to get work in the mainstream, artists usually have to draw in a style that, is already popular.
Yeah.
And, it's very rare that someone like McFarlane can come in and just flip the tables on the whole thing. And before that, Spider-Man was drawn the way that friggin' I think it was Romita drew him, or someone drew him. One way or another.
Let me think here. I want to show the one that I want to show what Nate's talking about, because I think this is it here. Let's open it up. I think I'm currently converting it. Yeah, so it's so yeah, it's I think I'm like working on the roof. Yeah, I'm just like kind of straightening some of the lines. But eventually I'll, probably, clean it up and maybe put a printout or put it on my portfolio or something. But this is what Nate bought probably about a year ago. Nate, I was thinking you're due for at least 2 more originals, buddy. So you hit me up when you're ready for that. Yeah.
Yeah, the originals are very impressive. I've actually seen, not that one, obviously, but
yeah, I sent this one out. But anyway, all right, let's get to the next topic here.
We have topics. I thought we would.
We have topics and finger quotes. Yeah. All right, let me get rid of my screen here. Stop screen. Let me get rid of this. All right. I'm going to show you this, Mike. one is it? Is it this one? Nope. So this one. Okay. On my new favorite segment, Women, a Plague, I have this.
There's been an abundance of content about this.
I really need to make a
seen all of
graphic.
these.
I need a good graphic for that. I'm gonna watch this. This is, oh my god. Tell me right away if you can hear it, because I'm pretty sure you can, but
Stop using
did you hear it?
Yep.
Okay.
Stop using ice in your drinks and instead use frozen vegetables. For the new year, I'm trying to eat healthier, so I just add frozen vegetables into my freezer, and every time I have a drink, I use these vegetables instead of ice. It makes it a great way to get in my daily vegetables without even noticing. Stop using ice.
What are you doing?
I get it. Oh, I get it. You know, you're a content creator.
Ugh.
You've got to come up with some kind of idea. You've
This
set
is not
yourself up
content,
with some
buddy.
kind of
I don't know what this is.
home hack. First of all, I thought, well, hang on. First of all, she said, I want to get healthy, so I'm putting vegetables in my water. I was like, well, water is water. You really don't get much more healthy than water.
Well, you need the nutrients of the vegetables.
And then I was like, but hang on, you're not going to get any nutrients unless you eat the vegetables. And then it shows, okay, so she's just eating frozen vegetables.
That's all it is. Yeah, but this, see, here's
really
the
a
thing.
substitute.
In your drinks and instead use frozen vegetables.
Also, little grossed out. She's just putting this in her ice box. Like, you know.
Yeah, what's that? It's already in a bag. Leave it in a bag.
I saw, where was this? It was some video of someone who was like, yeah, how I make, it was like guacamole, and they like clean the sink out and they use the sink as the bowl.
Yeah. I think we saw that together.
I was like, oh my God. My
That's
wife
like that
does this
Indian thing. Put your feet in my food, wash your hands in my food.
Yeah, yeah. Or like that video is like when you ask an Indian vendor for some like food and they just like pour it over their hand and hand it to you. But my wife, I don't know if she still does it, but she did this thing where she would get iced coffee and put it in ice cube trays and use that as the ice for her iced coffee. It's not super gross, kind of irked me out a little bit, but I was just like, ooh. Yeah, I get it.
That's that bad. No, that's like,
it's fine. It's, I guess I get the issue wasn't so much the idea of it. It was just, it looked gross. So I would open it up and it just looked like dirty water ice cubes. I was like, oh, but yeah, it's not fucking pouring your food into this thing. Let me play this.
For the new year, I'm trying to eat healthier, so I just add frozen vegetables into my freezer, and every time I have a drink, I use these vegetables.
She's using Coke. That's not water. Of course. That's just, whoa.
Trying to get healthy with some Coke. Well,
This is also like, is this, I don't know. I mean, is this like the new Coke flavor? Corn, peas, and rice flavored Coke.
Instead of ice, it makes it a great way to get in my daily vegetables.
Fuck out of town, lady.
Without even noticing. Stop using.
Ugh.
I'm eating a glass full of vegetables in my Coke. I barely even noticed it. It's just like drinking Coke.
Ice in your drinks and instead use.
All right. Yeah. Good job, I think. I don't know anymore. All right, let me go to the next one here. Of course, I'm on my crap. Let's see. I think it's a Facebook post. Yes, here we go.
Elon Musk were here right now, what would you tell him? Go back.
Oh, let me refresh it. He said if Elon Musk was here.
Mm-hmm. Elon Musk were here right now, what would you tell him? Go back where you come from. America or where he came from? South Africa. South Africa? South Africa, right? Oh, gotta go. Elon Musk.
well, gotta go. See ya.
Go back to Africa.
Oh.
Oh.
She
cue the clip of Jonah Hill going.
Yeah. Oh my God. He needs to go. He needs to go back where he came from. Okay.
What would you tell him?
Go back where you come from.
America or
Where he came from.
South Africa?
South Africa?
South Africa, right?
Oh, gotta go.
Also notice she's wearing a mask too, so that's probably helps identify her a little bit. Let's see here. I was thinking a Batman Shadow Claude Agent original. Oh, bro.
That'd be dope. Have you drawn Shadow before?
Bro's playing at my heartstrings. Yeah, actually, I don't even know if I think I've shown it maybe a year ago, but I can show you guys now. It's I had done this piece, and well, let me make sure I can find it because there's so many fucking pieces on here. Let's see here. It would be here. And it would be sorry, guys. Oh yeah, here it is. Very good. I'll show you this. Stop screen. Present. Okay. I had done this, and I was not gonna, it's not colored or anything yet, but it was a piece that I was gonna offer on the next campaign, and it's the Shadow and the Claude Agent together.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll finish it up and kind of like fix the levels and color it and such. But yeah, doing a Claude Agent Shadow Batman, that would be really cool. I could totally figure that out for you, Nate, if you like that. Yeah. I wonder if I have here. Oh, this is just like scans. I did this one for Snugs. This is a color, finished. The one I sent to Snugs looks like this, though. But when I put it on the computer, I can put those backgrounds in it. Okay.
Have you ever played around with physical ink wash?
No, what's that? Oh, you mean like real ink wash?
Yeah, real ink
wash.
wash.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I haven't done that. I want to do it though. I saw a video of Frager doing it, and I was like, I think that's what I need. I'm sick of just doing the black and white stuff. I want to do something with a bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, it gives a nice depth to it, and it gives a sort of an organic feel to it that isn't replicatable.
And my art usually has that kind of, that sort of cell shaded.
Yours has like it's a terrible word, but there is like a sterile look to it sometimes because your lines are so perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you were able to put like a brush over it, it could really kind of help oomph it up a little bit.
That's probably my favorite piece. Like that's freaking rad.
Yeah, this one came out good. What's this one? Oh, I like this one too. This one didn't get a lot of play when I put it out. I mean, it's fine. Doesn't really matter. But some people, sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. All right, let me go to the next story. Nate, let's talk about that, buddy. I can probably figure that out. I don't have a campaign up right now, but we can PayPal or whatever. I'm not worried about that. All right, and then was it this one? Okay. Rachel Zegler is innocent. Why is the internet so incredibly wrong about one of our most promising actors? I've never seen someone torpedo their own career so hard.
Yeah, I mean, I really have not been paying a whole lot of attention to, the whole thing because I just was like, I have so little interest in, Snow White or whatever. But yeah, I've seen some of the stuff that she's been saying, and it's all just, it's so smart. I saw someone said that she's, like Antifada, whatever, pro-Palestine, everything, and she's working alongside Gal Gadot, and it's they hate each other, and And then it's just like everything that is attached to her just seems to not go well. That's what I've noticed. Like there was that meme that went for a week about her back. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, the hair.
Yeah. And it just like sparked this huge gaslighting campaign. Anyone who thinks women don't have really hairy backs has never been with a woman before. And you're like,
you want to know? I'm going to tell everyone a secret. This is a deep Camel lore secret. Matrix girl, hairy back.
Well, that's like, this is the thing. Everyone,
she was Puerto Rican though.
that's what everyone's saying. It's like,
yeah,
it's not about women, it's about where they're from. So if they're South American, they're probably going to have a bit of dark fur somewhere,
Yeah,
but if they're Western European, not so much. But the whole gaslighting that, oh no, every woman has this thick fuzz of dark hair on their back, and it's like, and unless you think that, you're an incel. It was really weird.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's a racial thing. I don't, really particularly care, but it's Snow White, I'm just like, she's not a white girl. Just kind of feel like there may have been better options, I don't know.
That's the thing that, I did the most viewed content on my channel is race swap stuff.
Yeah.
And I've heard it all. Millions of views, thousands of comments, and 95% of them all say, as long as the race has nothing to do with the character, I don't care if you change it. But every time that the race does have something to do with the character and they change it, then they're like, stop complaining. It's the progress. It's like, it is Snow White. There's other characters they recently swapped, like Snape. Snape is from Harry Potter. He's supposed to have super pale skin.
Yeah.
Long black hair that drapes over his face like a curtain. A really kind of long, ugly nose. And just be generally repulsive. So what do? They hire a handsome black man. So it's like, but that's against what you guys have been saying this whole time.
This is a good point here. Ryan Blue Thunder says, it's also not necessary where they're from Central South America either. It's whether they're more indigenous or European. Well, yeah, like isn't Snow White, like where does it take place? Like Romania or something?
I think you might be talking about the back hair there, because there's a lot of
okay.
Which is true. Yeah.
Either
way, bizarre internet moment.
I'll say this though, because that clip of when she was like, "Oh, it's weird," "Oh," like it's like resurfaced. I've been seeing it everywhere, like on Reels, and I was like, I almost feel bad for her because I do think that she truly thought she was, relaying the script. This is what we're doing now. We're all in lockstep, and it's just she didn't expect the backlash, and it's just like maybe she shouldn't have expected the backlash. I mean, there are other actors who have said cringy things, and we just kind of be like, no, whatever. But I almost feel like you kind of hand wave away the people you like and be like, well, whatever. They've already done plenty of movies that I've seen that I enjoyed. Whereas this one, it's like you're just starting your career. Maybe it's not a good idea to like politically identify on a public level.
You're not Robert De Niro,
Yeah, right. It's like, and even De Niro like kind of fucked himself a little bit. But still, it's like you don't have this au revoir of work where we're like, yeah, I'm willing to forgive and forget, these little indiscretions because whatever. It's like, I mean, what were you in? She was in that, what was that? West Side Story. which was fucking unwatchable. And what was the other one? She was in that Hunger Games prequel that I think made about $14.50. So it's
I don't know her at all. This is what I know her from.
Yeah. Not exactly like, a whole breadth of work that you can point to and be like, oh well, she played this and I liked her, and all right, she fucked up, whatever. Nate says he definitely has oh, you're talking you're talking about this girl here. Yeah. But then you think about people like Zendaya, who said nothing. I've never seen her say anything ever, and people hate her. So it's just like, you can't force the internet to like you, no matter what you do. You can't do it. They're gonna like. And then there's like a Sydney Sweeney, who I've never seen her in anything, and everyone is in love with her. It's just like whatever.
I've only ever seen people share clips of her, and it's always just her like getting it on. That's it. I haven't seen.
I think she was on some HBO show.
Yeah.
And then I look back, and I think I do remember her for like, she's in like a 14-second shot in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I was like, oh, that was her. But they really kind of like, make her look pretty terrible in that. So
the thing with Zendaya is, it does feel manufactured, as opposed to a organic response to something she's done. So by that, I would say, who's the Aussie girl that was in Harley Quinn?
Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie. So Margot Robbie was kind of a pretty girl on an Australian soap opera, and then she parlayed that to get into the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, and everyone was like, oh my god, who's this hot chick? And everyone was like, oh wow, she's super pretty and she actually can act. That's cool. And then it just sort of snowballed from there. And and then it turned out, oh, she actually can act. That's cool. And people were just, there was a lot of buzz surrounding her. Whereas I think Zendaya, started appearing in certain things, and all of the media who you would expect would go like, she's the new beauty standard. Because she's everything against what a traditional Hollywood it girl looks like. So we're gonna make and then you get these articles like, she's the most beautiful woman in the world. Which is kind of a cruel thing to do, because she clearly objectively isn't. And I'm not even saying she's like, a lot of people think she's hideous. I don't think she's hideous. I just think she's clearly not the most beautiful woman in the world, and that's fine. But everyone, like, the whole machine became invested in that idea, and then you start, and I think kind of starts self-feeding. But I still haven't seen her do anything that I would think warrants how popular she is. I thought she was fine in Dune, but certainly didn't like carry the movie.
I'd rather see this girl in Dune.
Well, she's
I think she's a lot cuter, and if they need to use CGI to push her eyes together, then I mean,
no, that's another hot thing that's all the rage.
You want my eyes over here? All these hammerhead women. Halle Berry, Anna Taylor-Joy, and
yeah, that's a new thing.
It's kind of bizarre. All right, so I found this. Let me watch it.
I mean, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so.
Oh God, this is like, these are the girls that I would meet in college. It was like they had this like sort of affected accent, not accent, but just like
there's every girl under the age of 25.
I know, it's just like, it's so cringe. Stop fucking talking. Just be cool. Can you just be normal? Just be fucking normal. It's evidently so. It's like, it's almost like they're purposefully stretching out their syllables because they know they have nothing to say. It's like, I'm just gonna take up space here. All right, let me keep playing.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird.
Oh yeah. Someone make that their profile. That this has to win like the Nat Geo pick of the fucking decade.
Jennifer Lawrence used to do this sort of stuff. It's like quirky, fun chick, but she wasn't like
She was
talking
good at it
out of-
though.
She
liked
wasn't
her.
talking out of her ass about subjects she really doesn't have any life experience with. Like everything that
Yeah.
she's talking about is all learned from the current narrative, and then she looks back at what it is and isn't really thinking about the historical understanding of these sorts of stories and fairy tales and stuff like that, and the impact and everything. She's just repeating feminist stuff.
Yeah, propaganda.
And so to do it at the same time, it doesn't come off cute and endearing. It comes off as precocious and annoying.
Yeah, and pretentious. And
Pretentious,
I like,
that's
there's that GIF of GIF. You can say it any way you like here in the Ivory Tower of Jennifer Lawrence, where she's like, "Okay, buddy." That is my favorite GIF of all time. I use that all. Mike knows. I send him that probably once a week. Okay, guy. Good luck. Because it's so apt and it's so on point and it's so usable. And it's just like that's a natural personality for her, like but like with this, you're right, it feels very affected, it feels very put on. It's just like, yeah, you're just trying to be something that whether you think this is how girls your age should act or you think how actresses should act or whatever, but it doesn't come off authentic.
Weird. So we didn't do that this time.
I also like this we. What do you mean we? Were you there in the fucking creative circle? Were you like, I'm so tired of like when I finished my 4th draft, fuck off. You just got hired.
Yeah, I'm sure she came in very late in the project.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
had minimal input.
Prince or a different kind of prince?
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume.
Also, I don't know what's going on here, but never wear a corset over a shirt. You look like a bozo. This is one of the worst fucking fashion statements I've ever seen.
Well,
it's like
I'm
got
not
fucking.
going to comment on fashion while you're sitting here looking like a the dad who just finished his carpentry. Just got my on.
Yeah, the trucker camel, but don't wear, what is this? It's like plaid with seersucker and a fucking, get out of town. Just go, stop.
I'm sure they get paid or they get free clothes from designers and stuff who dress them. I'm sure that happens.
Yeah.
For these events.
Assume is a love story just because like we cast a guy in the movie, Andrew Burnap, great dude.
Yeah, she's a bit haughty, isn't she? Haughty, I would say.
Haughty.
A bit supercilious is the word I would use there. But
what is haughty? I don't think I've ever heard that word.
Haughty is thinking you are in a more elevated position than you are.
Oh, everything we've just been saying.
So, but you can also use it for people who are literally like that. So like, aristocracy are haughty. That's just how they come across as.
Is that derivative of like hoity-toity? Or are they in the same?
I don't know.
Am I just conflating them?
Probably French.
Yeah.
Haughty is, I don't even know how to spell that. Is it
Haughty?
Haughty. It's from French. It means high, essentially.
Yeah, so just high on yourself.
Yeah.
Thanks, Russell.
She's probably, I've been a star before, and what happens is people puff you up and tell you that you're really important in order to keep you focused so that they continue to make money out of you, while actually you're just fulfilling a role within the culture.
I like Russell Brand. I like the person.
It's crazy. I used to get into arguments with people about how much of a loser idiot Russell Brand is.
Really?
Yeah. Back in like 2013. And I was like,
yeah,
just all he does is say mumbo jumbo with a lot of words, but there's nothing behind it. And over the last 15 years, he's just kind of completely reinvented himself. And it turned out he was actually, once he got off the drugs and the booze, he actually is super smart and courageous. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's how I feel about myself. People used to think I was a stupid bozo, no,
It's crazy how intelligent that guy is. And you can tell intelligence by how well he can string thoughts together on the fly and weave in and out and come back around. The guy knows how to think and articulate. It's pretty crazy considering where he came from. This kind of like he played that high drunk British pop star kind of character.
He's also one of the few guys I think who are self-aware and reflective on it, because I think about people like there was that clip going around of George Clooney talking about vaccines, about how you're not a doctor, and it was like, and he would be like, I'm not a doctor. Oh, but he played one on TV. So like I just tell, I'll just go with whatever the consensus is. But it's like just the fucking smugness. And he's one of these guys who every time he says anything, he starts with the word look. Like, you're not my teacher. You don't say like, look. I mean, Obama would do that. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. If you keep kind of referring down to me, it's like, yeah, I don't really want to listen to anything that comes after that word. So, all righty.
Look, Camel, it just is what it is. All right. Yeah, that does come across like it. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Oh. Okay. So we did about 2 hours. I guess we made okay money. I guess. We have to go to sleep sad that we didn't get $100.
Thank God for Nate.
Why do I even get up in the middle of the night, Mike?
I don't know. 7 o'clock. It's 7 p.m. here. I would not. If you asked me, do you want to do a show at 3 a.m. in the morning? I wouldn't even respond.
Do you think the entirety of your success on the internet is because of when you can stream compared to US hours?
I think a lot of my sanity and the reason why I look at what goes on, especially what goes on the streams, differently to a lot of people is because of the time zone thing.
Mm-hmm.
All of this stuff, when things go crazy and wild, it's like 3 p.m. for me a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I'm just, sitting here working in real time. It's not like the witching hour. It's not like things get crazy at 2 a.m. If you're angry and up and you're yelling at someone at 2 a.m. in the morning, it's just a different vibe. And you wake up.
Your brain is not on the same level.
What's
That's
happening?
Like I said this to my wife a couple years ago. I said, I can't watch movies during the day. I can't do it. And she was like, why? And I said, because, well, for one thing, I can't really watch narratives during the day because I kind of feel like I'm wasting my time. I'm like, this is when I should be working or, in my case, sleeping. But the idea of like watching a movie at like 3 p.m, especially unless it's like a Sunday, is just kind of weird to me. It's like I need to be in the mindset of like, it's when the lights go down, it's like natural theater mode for the earth. And so I'm like, okay, it's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I can watch a movie now. The lights are down. The sun is down. It's easier for me to sort of wrap my head around that. But, like you're saying at 3 p.m, like, would you ever watch, like some Real Housewives or some fucking nonsense like that in the middle of the day? Like, no, that's like nighttime entertainment.
Yeah. So. Yeah. It is. No, it does affect it. I agree with you, by the way. Anything, I'll watch like a movie with the kids. It's a different vibe.
It really is, yeah.
It's not.
It's like, Yeah, it's part of the wind down too for me. Again, even though I don't keep work hours like most people, but like my social hours are about the same. And then it's just like, yeah, I'm not. The idea of like waking up and like I'm gonna go watch a movie at like 11 in the morning. It's like, what the hell is that? So, all right. Well, we had 2 hours. Oh, we have 39 people. I did stupid dipshit cocksucker fuckface industry. He did. Well, welcome everyone. We're gonna do another hour now. We could do some more. I didn't know. Now that we have a little audience here.
40.
39.
Hello,
Yeah,
Mahajno.
50 people.
It's been a long time, my friend. How are you going?
Mandingo forgot who his king is. He was over there hanging out with Lord Cocksucker, you know. Oh, 10 minutes ago. It took you guys this long to roll in. Fuck out of town. Maybe I will end it. Let's see here.
Too bad we ran out of topics to talk about.
Right at the end here. I got nothing. I'm like doom scrolling here on fucking Twitter. I got.
Yeah, that's never gonna work.
You know what's happened so many times? I can't even tell you how many times. I'll end the show and then I'll just be like winding down on Twitter and like the most amazing story will just have come out. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sakes. It's just like and then we can't do a show for a week.
I think there's pretty interesting stuff happening, in the world in general. Like you guys might possibly be undergoing a proper revolution in a way. When I say revolution, I mean, Trump and Elon are actually shaking things up. They're actually overturning a lot of status quo stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, in Canada and here and in the UK, it's like we're entering end game of friggin', the decline, where like you can't even say anything now in Australia without like the cops coming and having a talk with you. In Germany, they'll come and arrest you and drag you away in the middle of the night. Whereas in the US,
they're back to that old chestnut, huh? They're doing that again.
It's like everyone is, everything I hear, every new thing I hear is like, oh, because they're gonna try and save $1 trillion in waste. Maybe they're gonna drop the company tax from 21% to 15%. And I'm like, this is massive changes that could really, like Klaus Schwab said not that long ago, if Trump continues like this unabated, this will be the end of globalism. Like, and he's saying like that's a bad thing. But
well, also, I mean, Germany, Australia, France, etc. I mean, they all follow the U.S. lead, right? So hopefully, there's some type of trickle down effect where, they're like, oh, okay, this is the new norm. We don't have to be dickheads all the time. Let's change it up.
To a degree, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, you got to gift memberships, by the way. Sumo.
I saw that. I was waiting for you to stop talking. Like, I'm just gonna keep going. 10. Look at that. 10 memberships. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is someone who cares about the ivory tower. Sumo Authority. Thank you. Thank you more than Nate Callis. Oh man, did I say that? I think Nate and Sumo should have a spend off for my admiration. Let's see if that works. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I'm trying to, I still haven't found anything. I haven't found a fucking thing. Have you seen all this Ghibli art? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's annoying, and I want to start blocking everyone who's sharing.
So Ravender posted something. Wait, I gotta see if I can find it. It's so funny. I gotta find it here. So I guess he asked Grok. For those who don't know, Ravender hangs out. He used to be on the comic talk show with Jeremy and Aldous. All right, let me share this. So he asked Grok. He goes, block every Ghibli style picture in my Twitter feed, past and future.
I mean, I'm usually a kind of like things don't really bother me that much kind of guy, but all of a sudden I'm seeing all these memes in this style.
Yeah.
And it's pretty bad. It's like, no.
What is the so Grok goes on to say, unfortunately, there's no direct way to block all, and he puts it in quotes, Ghibli style pictures on your Twitter X feed, which is with a single setting or feature built into the platform. However, I can guide you through some practice steps to minimize or eliminate them from your feed, both for past posts. Here's how you can approach this. Number one, mute the phrase. Thanks. Poor Ravender. I don't like that for you, buddy.
Memes are supposed to be fun and, funny and enjoyable. This is just like, oh, remember all this shit that you know of? Here it is in a cartoon style that doesn't really, it kind of vaguely looks like it, but isn't really. And it's like bland and crap. Don't you want to see that all over your social media feed?
No, not really. I mean, I don't know. I think like anything, it's the first 4 or 5 times I saw it, it was kind of novel. And then I was like, oh, it's every meme in the last year and a half. It's like, well, whatever, It's kind of extreme. All right, guys, I'm trying. It's been a slow week. And I don't have any more plagued women posts, ironically enough.
There's so many. I mean, I wish if I had known, I would have saved some of them.
Oh, just start saving them.
Yeah, I will. There was one. There's a lot of, what, a lot of women are coming to the realization now. Like there are a lot of them coming and saying, "There's no good-looking men."
Oh, I saw that one today too. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, I see beautiful women everywhere, but no good-looking men. And I agree with that. But like that, I'm not gay, so like that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
It's like, what do they want? What do they expect? Who are they? And as well, they get themselves all dolled up. They spend an hour before they go out of the house, working on how they look. Whereas we don't tend to do that.
I had a gay guy look at me at the grocery store today. I realized something about gay guys. You can tell they're gay because they kind of look gay. You notice this? Like there's like like an effeminate quality. There's like kind of like the eye contact went on like a millisecond too long, and I was like, dude, avert your eyes. What are you doing? And I was just like, all right, that's yeah, and it's just very polished looking. And I was like, maybe it is like a hormone thing or something, maybe you are born with it, maybe it's not a choice.
No, I think it's a parasite. I think we all figured that out.
That's right, it's a butt parasite. But if it's a butt parasite, then maybe it's it's changing your hormones or your physiology in some way. So yeah. Camel has impeccable gaydar. Oh, I spotted you, bro. So let's see what else. I'm just gonna read your comments here.
My comment.
Oh, no, these here. Let's see.
right.
They also doing Muppet versions. Yeah, I saw that. It's so stupid. I hate trends. Ooh. What is Blue Thunder saying? The biggest change I've seen, seriously, limit DC circuit jurisdiction to local DC issues, creating pool water. Okay, this is above my pay grade. Sorry, buddy. Grok says, don't try to control my meme ticks, bro. Yeah, exactly. Get memed.
Here's a woman that says, can someone please tell me where all the anti-capitalist, anti-war, not racist, pro-women, empathetic men hang out? That's another thing that's happening that I saw, where it was the people who have a favorable opinion of Trump broken down by who they are. And it's all like green, 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 except for college educated white women. And they're like complete opposite, you know, like 40% hate him or whatever like that. And it's like, that's the thing. The men and women seem to be becoming less and less compatible as actual partners, you know, as you go forward.
Yeah.
Whereas I remember when I met Mel, I was a lefty and she was a conservative. And it was like, oh, okay. It didn't even factor.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. Whereas now it's like that's all they care about.
It's frustrating, and you know, Mike knows this, and I'm not going to go too deep into it, but like I've been going through it with my wife recently too, and I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, because it's something in the water, and it's just like, you know, suddenly, you know, I'm hearing things like, oh, we're not as compatible as we used to be, or you're not as romantic as you used to be, you know. And I talk to friends and, you know, older friends, and they're like, oh, this is par for the course and marriages go through this. And I'm like, yeah, but this seems to be more of an epidemic.
Yeah,
you know,
like maybe just because we're looking at it more.
Yeah, and I think that there's something bigger going on, you know, whereas before maybe it was a midlife crisis, or maybe it was a hormone issue, or who knows what it could have been. You know, it's just maybe it's something that's kind of passing, but now it does seem like it's like sort of ever present. And it's you know, the amount of fucking TikTok videos I see about relationships and women and like how men need to do this and women need to do that, and I'm just like, you know, and partially that's because, you know, you watch it, so it's going to show you more, but at the same time I'm still seeing it on a level I didn't used to see it, whether I was watching them or not. And so, and I've even tried stopping, and I was like, I'm not going to watch this and see what happens. And they fucking populate anyway. It's just like, it's like a lot of the content that's out there right now is talking about this stuff.
Well, I think what you're seeing is social media. And men and women were already different going back through all time.
Yeah.
But now we have social media, and that we know that amplifies everything. But on top of that, men and women use social media completely differently for the most part. You know, most women will use social media for like validation and getting likes about them and stuff like that. Whereas men, from what I've seen, like kind of just huddle together around things that they're interested in anyway. So like we kind of found each other through comic books. Other people might be gaming, or what, it could be anything, basketball or whatever. Whereas I think women like treat it like to go on and get likes and stuff about themselves. Like most women post photos of themselves on Instagram or something, so that people will go like, oh my God, you look so cute or whatever. Like that was another thing I watched not that long ago. It's like the women get kind of validation or whatever they get out of that. And then, but that didn't used to be a thing. Women didn't used to be able to get that. Just
Well, no, that's not true. They just hopefully got it from their husband and their kids.
But that's it. No, that's what I'm saying. They didn't used to be able to go onto the internet and get
Yeah.
it like through social media, through strangers on the internet. You used to get it from the people in their lives. And you get it by going out and being someone in the community. Whereas now you can get it just by sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
I do think it's a real thing, and it's happening because of social media on top of, you know, the last 50 years of feminist propaganda, and it's all just like a perfect storm of like just people not on being on the same wavelength. But it's been interesting to watch a lot of this stuff because so many people have figured it all out, you know, what's actually happening.
Well, that's the other thing too. It's not a unsolved problem. It's just people ignoring the results. I'm going to read this here because I don't want to forget. Nate for $10 says mayhaps. All right. An impromptu Karens of TikTok or libs of TikTok or left, right, center. I have to prep that stuff, unfortunately. But if I find it while I'm scrolling here when Mike's talking, I'll bring it up. But yeah, to what Mike was saying. Yeah, it's frustrating because there are certain aspects of things where I'm like, I know you think that this is a problem, but it's not really a problem. You know, I mean, I've had to say that to my wife. Just be like, hey, maybe go do something. You know, don't feel like you have to stay home all day. And she's actually started to do a lot of things. She goes to the Y. She has like a pottery class. She does a church group thing. You know, so like all of that is good. You know, sometimes they do sleepovers, and sometimes she comes back, you know, stinking like men. But I presume that that's just, you know, I think that that's most likely just, you know, really strenuous activity. You know?
Sounds perfectly fine. Yeah. Sounds completely normal. Like that. It's like that photo. The meme of the chick is the guy's like, my girlfriend went to a protest and look, she came back with these choke marks on her neck. These damn cops.
Yeah, she started what is she doing now? She's doing a delivery service where everyone, you know, pays her in ones. So that's kind of interesting. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see how that works out for me. $20 church lockout equals women smelling. It's a real problem, you know? I mean, it's coincidental though. Probably what happened is because, you know, they were all hanging out, and then, you know, they were like, I think what happened is the bus stalled. So a large group of firefighters showed up and helped get them out of the mud. That's what I'm thinking. So, I mean, you know, we're just putting two and two together here. So, yeah, very good. All right, I think I've milked you guys long enough. What do you think, Mike? Should we milk them some more? Can we milk another $100 out of these?
I mean, Ryan Blue Thunder,
little piglets.
And you've gotten more super chats tonight than I have in like 6 months. So I mean, you know,
oh, great. Yeah, the sex catacombs. That's she's going on an all-girls trip to. Oh, did you see this video? No, what was it? It was a meme, or not a meme. It was just a group of photos, and apparently there's this like tribes guy in like Fiji or something, and he's been having sex with all of these women who show up because they see him as some type of alpha, but he's like just super charismatic, and he's able to like convince them that he's like some, you know, provider, and he's just like this skinny native dude, but he's you know, all these white women who are just like flocking to him. They're like flying to fucking see him. That's kind of hilarious.
He's like a guru, and he just
yeah, and he's like, you know, he brings them into his hut and he shows them how he makes, you know, fucking fire with a stick, and yeah,
it's good honest work if you can get it.
Yeah, I should be a guru. I'm gonna start hoping or holding, sort of.
You should go to the pyramids and set up shop in one of the underground.
I live here, everyone. I'm gonna be a YouTube guru. I'm gonna tell other women how they should live their lives by way of super chat. All right. Now
This Ghibli shit it's insufferable. It's everywhere. It's like
awesome one says Sumo can't carry every channel on YouTube. Sheesh. Yeah, what about you, awesome one? What have you sent over? Nothing. Nothing. Thank you. Lord Finatra, drunk again, says, banish the devil out of your home, Carmel. Okay, thank you. Yeah. All right, let me get the fuck out of here.
You got another super chat.
There's another one?
There's another one.
Oh, I will just keep going. All right, $20. See what happens, Mike, when you just ask. Ask and you shall receive.
I know, right?
Question for the panel is hot yoga gay? My gal says men doing yoga is gay.
Is hot yoga different to normal yoga? Is it?
Yeah, it's like essentially you do yoga in like a svitz or like a sauna. Have you ever? There was a documentary that this like guru, this yogi something. He had like a hot yoga thing in LA, probably in the early 2000s, and like Bradley Cooper went to it. He had all these celebrities going to it, and essentially he was like just hitting on the hot ones and forcing the hot ones to fuck him. And this guy was hideous looking.
No, that's what I was about to say. So, is hot yoga gay? Yes and no. If you're going to it as a client, obviously that's a big gay thing.
It was mostly women at this thing.
If you're putting it on, if you're the man, at the front, then clearly you are being a what is known in the sciences and anthropology a sneaky fucker, which is that's actually a real term. Yeah, it's the male who knows he can't be the alpha, so he'll just like come up with some way to be close to women in some other way, and that's a really good way to do it. So yeah, like that guy who's doing the hot yoga set like classes, he's banging a lot of them, so that's not gay. But if you're the guy who's going there, yeah, that's pretty questionable. Yeah. Because what is yoga? It's just like raunchy stretching.
Just like, what are you doing? What is this?
I remember Mel does like it's not yoga, but it's core workouts. You've seen that?
No, my wife does that. At least I think.
Yeah. So you'll go down, in a position on the ground, and you'll hold it for 40 seconds or something.
Yeah.
And my wife will be like, "Oh, this is so hard. This is really killing me." I'm like, I just don't see it. I don't know what you're talking about. She's like, "No, try it. You'll see." And so I get down. I'm in this position, and like I could literally be here for 20 minutes without feeling anything. There's nothing happening, and she's there going, I think it's like, I don't know, just the difference physiology.
No, there's no difference, Mike. We're all the same, men and women. There's no difference at all.
I think, I don't know what men get out of yoga. Do men really want to be flexible? Is that a thing? It's like no man ever said, "Hey, check this out," and like lift.
Maybe like if you're a ballet or a gymnast or something, but like.
I mean, that's different. But
yeah, but that's your thing. But like realistically, like I don't need to be all loose and wobbly noodle. I don't know what that does for me. I remember, oh man, this is a long time ago. I used to have a bunch of roommates in my early 20s, and one of them came over, and I was real thin. I was like $115 back then, and this guy brought his girlfriend over, and she used to go to the gym, and she was quite thin, but she also had a little bit of muscle on her, and her arms were probably twice as big as mine, and she was like, yeah, I'm getting so ripped at the gym. I said, I bet you $20 I could beat you in an arm wrestle. And she's like, get out of town. And I mean, I literally had arms like a 9-year-old. I'm like, all right, let's try it. So we sat down and just poof, no effort. And she fucking lost it. She's like, I go to the gym. You don't weigh anything. And I was like, the male muscle mass is so much denser. It's not even comparable.
And a lot of arm wrestling is in the wrist. And
yeah.
You know,
and so if I'm
that's
drawing, 20 hours a day.
I think it's that. I think it's our natural grip strength. That's how you get those guys who are pro arm wrestlers go against those massive.
Oh yeah, because it's all right here.
Because they have the right techniques.
Yeah.
Yeah, women's wrists are it's like a.
Yeah, it's dainty. It's like paper.
It's like a chicken wing. There's nothing there.
This is bracket. Yeah.
I was just looking. How's your father? Drawing or jacking? Either or. It's all a workout.
It doesn't.
Strong
drawing. Thank you. Okay. Yeah.
For some reason, this one isn't as strong. It's
oh really? Huh. I can draw with both hands. Sometimes I draw the stranger. It's like someone else is drawing the picture.
Something a bit different, Try it out.
Let's see what the Claude agent looks like from someone else. All right, everyone. I'm closing it up again. Unless another super chat comes in, you got nowhere else to go.
This is like a peep show. You have to keep going. Or the black screen comes down.
Just dancing. Up another quarter of this. Come on, everybody. Hey, all right. There we go. It worked. We'll be here all night, everybody. $10. Nate says, fun fact, Dramatize Me is still going. Just watched the newest episode. It's still legendary. We got a takedown notice from them. So you can't even find those Camel Knights anymore. You could, I don't know if they're just privated or if I've had to take them down. But yeah, I got an actual channel strike. And I was like, and I tried to fight it. And YouTube was like, nope, which I thought was annoying because it should be transformative. I mean, we literally paused it and just joked about it. But whatever.
Yeah, no, I can kind of see it because it's sort of a bit more like a watch party where we're trying to be funny about it. I think we did add a lot to it
Yeah, but we weren't making... that's a good point. We weren't commenting on the production. We were using it as a source of entertainment. So...
Yeah, we were laughing at it. So it's I kind of get what they're saying. We weren't like watching it to critique it or anything like that.
Yeah,
in a real way. God, some of them were so funny, so crazy. And I loved how they'd use the same actors. So then we pretend it was the same person.
Yeah.
Oh, there's his office, and now he has this thing here because we have a whole story around it.
It was good times. The golden age. Yeah. Keep sliding in quarters, everybody.
That was one of the first things we did when we turned 18. We went to some friggin' peep show thing, and it was at the back of a sex shop thing, And you walk through the section, and it was the most grimy, terrible place. And we're just like kids wanting to go in and have a laugh. But I was like, man, like these floors are so dirty, and there's actual like rags and stuff for cleaning yourself up with. And I was like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
But it worked like that. Like you put in $2 and this friggin' screen comes up, and this chick who was just sitting there like smoking gets up and starts doing a thing, and then the screen comes down. You have to put in more $2. It was pretty grimy.
I don't think I've ever done anything like that. The worst I ever did was my friend took me to a porn shop once, and I was so skeeved out because I was just like, I don't know. I mean, there's nothing like those DVD boxes. Like, oh my God, I was not even skeeved out. I was offended as a designer. I mean, it was just really bad Photoshop work.
It's pretty weird because you go, like, I've been twice, and both of them during the middle of the day.
Yeah,
we have these like big superstore ones here. They have them. I think they're from Germany. They're called Sexyland, and they're enormous. So it's like a friggin' Costco, but for porn and other weird stuff.
Yeah.
And you walk in through the light of day, and there's just this person there's like, hey, how you going? Oh yeah, you know.
Yeah, that's their life. And I knew a couple people who. This will show you how different things are. I knew girls in college who you would consider to be super lefties today. But back then they were just punk. You know, there was no politics attached to it. You know, they had the septum piercing, and, you know, people didn't really dye their hair in the 2000s like they do now. I mean, the crazies dyed their hair, but most people didn't. And, you know, they'd have the Buddy Holly glasses and, you know, all that shit. And they worked at these porn shops. And they were like, oh, Will, you should come hang out. And I was like, not attracted to any of them. So I was like, oh, okay. But once we did go during lunch, and I was, you know, and I went to school in Manhattan, and it was just like fucking these ceilings. I mean, one of these porn shops was like I mean, how ironic was this? It was like in a converted cathedral.
That's
what the fuck is this?
What a symbol of the decline of civilization.
You know, it's like, yeah, I don't think I should be here. And I was like kind of not super religious back then. I was kind of a good little Christian boy. And I was like, well, I'm going to exit the back, thank you. So, yeah. All right. Peep shows up, everybody. That's about it.
The wall's about to come up again.
Tick, 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 tick. Let's see here. I am looking, see if there's anything to bring up, but I really don't see anything here. I did see I watched just the intro to your show tonight, Mike. Did you see the comment I left?
No.
So you start the show and you just start cold.
Hey. Yeah.
And Rob's like, oh, I like that there's no intro. And you just cut them all. Started the intro. And I commented, I was like, there's no greater joy in life than cutting off Rob when he's mid-sentence.
Yeah. It was good. Even I've rewatched it as well, and his voice, you can still hear it trail off.
Like trails into it. Serious cat for $1. No, that's not enough. That's like putting a penny in the machine and hoping that it thinks it's a quarter.
It gets spit out.
Yeah. Thanks.
But here in Australia, we had $2 coins. So we don't have we don't have a $1 bill, which we call a note anyway. We have a $1 coin and a $2 coin. And to play Street Fighter, you would need usually a $2 coin. But it was the same size as a 5-cent coin, but it was a sticker, so people would try and glue them together.
Oh yeah, did it work?
And then put that in. It depended on the machine.
Oh,
but sometimes it like actually got stuck, and then so you didn't want to get caught doing it because you might wreck the machine. But yeah, people tried. It's a bit like that. It's like we can see that that's not a real $2 coin.
I had a misprint growing up. It was a 2-tailed coin.
Oh,
and crazy. Just happened to have it, and it was an actual misprint. It wasn't like something you buy at a magic shop or anything. and I just had it, and it was on a desk. And one day I just grabbed all the change so I can go get some gummy bears, and I didn't realize I had that quarter, and it was gone. I was like, "Oh my God,
$2,000 or something."
yeah, that's priceless. It's like, well, fuck that.
Oh, the old 1987 misprint. Yeah, there were only 7 of them.
Yeah, there only 3 in existence. You know, this is the one that JFK was flipping right before he got shot in the head. Oh, well. Yeah. All right.
That's it.
That's it, everyone.
Well, it's been.
I have my finger over the escape here, so I suppose if a chat came in mid-exit, I would bring the show back, but it'd have to be for a good amount of money. I mean, none of this dollar.
Yeah, you can play the outro.
Yeah.
See, that's like
give me a reason. You know what it is? We just need questions. You got 10, 20 bucks and a question? Yeah, we'll be here all night. Show me you love me, baby. All right, good night. Oh, wait. I liked this. Let's watch it again because we have new people here.
Hello, faggot lovers everywhere. I've a message for you from Birdseye. Birdseye faggots will appeal to your whole family. They've made them with lashings of gravy, but they've gone easy on the spice because kids don't like them too spicy, apparently. Birdseye even said...
I hate spicy faggots.
I definitely want my faggot spicy. There's nothing worse than a bland faggot,
No, I want my faggots to have some pip to them,
Apparently, Sumo doesn't know, what us Brits are referring to.
Yeah, Sumo says that took a dark turn. Apparently, you just are not down with the faggots, which I can say with impunity. I don't know. I'm talking about spicy meatballs. So, yeah, is spicy the same as sassy? Maybe that's a different type. Yeah,
different kind of spice.
All right. My little spicy faggots. Good night, everybody. It's been real.
So we are delighted to present James Brown on our stage on this show. So let's have a fine welcome for our very fine talent.
Yeah. Now shorty, she in the club, she dancing for dollars. She got a thing for that Gucci, that Fendi, that Prada, that DCBG, the Very Dolce and Gabbana. She feed the foolish fantasy, they pay her 'cause they want her. I spit a little G, man, and my gang got her. An hour later, had that butt up in the Ramada. Them chicken niggas in her ear saying they think about her. I got the bitch by the bar trying to get a drink about her. She like my style, she like my smile, she like the way I talk. She from the country, thinks she like me 'cause I'm from New York. I ain't that brother trying to holler 'cause I want some head. I'm that brother trying to holler 'cause I want some bread. I could care less how she perform when she in the bed. Trick, hit that track, catch a date and come to pay the kid. Look, baby, this is simple, you can't see. You fucking with me, you fucking with a P-I-M-P. I don't know what you heard about me, but a bitch can't get $1 out of me. No Cadillac, no perms, you can't see that I'm a mother freaking P-I-M-P. I don't know what you heard about me, but a bitch can't get $1 out of me. No Cadillac, no perms, you can't see that I'm a mother freaking P-I-M-P. I showed it,